Hey guys, what is up? It is Ro with another video. Welcome back, people of Earth. What is up? Your girl watched all the Oscar nominations. It took me all my willpower to pause my Criterion Collection / silent movie marathon and watch all the Oscar nominations, but I went on overdrive and was like, no, we're finishing because I love to watch all the nominations. So today we're going to do the ranking. We're going to rank all the Best Picture nominees like I did last year in a video, but we're going to do it differently this time. We're going to do the infamous tier list. So I created my own tier list. So since I won't be explicitly saying what position of ranking they are, I did rank them on my letterbox on a list. So go check it out if you like, description in the below. And I'm actually going to change it up a bit because there's some in the mid-20s to low 40s that I kind of want to switch up, but it's a pretty already solid ranking. Let's first go to my 5 categories. Top tier is Inject Into My Veins / Criterion Collection. This actually started with The Northman. It's not enough that I love a movie, it needs to be in me. Syringe needs to enter white, red blood cells. So that's how much I love this movie. And then I put / Criterion Collection because one, I would love a Criterion release of this film, and or we love the Criterion Collection. It's that simple. Next, we have movie theaters. We want to see these on the big screen, but we just genuinely will always have the best experience seeing something in a theater. Again, it's that simple. The Points Fives Clubs, a movie can fall on here because it's not necessarily the next tier, but it's also not as high. So Points Fives Clubs, inspired by Letterboxd, can be 0.5 stars all the way to 4.5 stars, but it's not movie theater status. Then we have a Star Wars Attack of the Clones. I am a huge prequels fan. Okay, Phantom Menace and Return of the Jedi all the freaking way. I will defend. Don't get me started with Jar Jar Binks supremacy. But my least favorite that I think is completely unnecessary is Attack of the Clones. However, last tier is no. Attack of the Clones, it exists, it's there, okay. No is no. Okay, so now that we have the tier out of the way, let us begin. Now, there were 51 movies, so 51 couldn't fit on this whole scale, so I split it in half. So this is part 1, and then we'll do part 2. So I did 2 tier lists. Hey guys, so I filmed this video a week before, thinking I wasn't going to be able to see the other 3 nominees I'm missing, but I did get to see The Quiet Girl and Living this past weekend, and those both would be in the Points Fives Clubs. And I might be able to hit a perfect score because I might be able to see the documentary short subject that's playing in a theater this Thursday. We'll see. Yeehaw, that is all. Okay, first up we have The Boy, the Mole, the Fox, and the Horse. This is nominated for Best Animated Short. I want to say Points Fives Clubs, but a very low Points Fives Clubs. Low-key, this is Star Wars Attack of the Clones. It tugs at your heartstrings, but I do not understand if this was purposely supposed to be extremely cheesy to the point of toothache. Were they really trying to embrace the maximum overdrive of cliche? Next, we have Elephant Whispers. This is nominated for Best Documentary Short Subject. This is on Netflix. Please go see it. I love this. What I love about most of the documentaries and documentary short subjects, which are very, very strong this year, is the information they're presenting us. There's a lot that I am educated on, and I think it's really great that they're shining light on these, and not just that, but they're really well done. So we're going to put Elephant Whispers in movie theaters. RRR, yes, I saw the 3-hour epic RRR, which is on Netflix. This is definitely movie theater. Now, while it's not this 6 out of 5, my top 10 of 2022 that it was for a lot of people, I still really appreciate it. And let's go. Let's win Best Original Song. Stranger at the Gate. I believe this is nominated for Best Documentary Short Subject. See, if I put it in Points Fives Clubs, it'll be very low Points Fives Clubs. I kind of want to do Star Wars Attack of the Clones, but I feel like that's a little too extreme. There's something about Stranger at the Gate that I have some problems with. Well, I understand its purpose, especially when it comes to the whole theme of love conquers hate. There's a bigger conversation behind this, that love conquers hate should be pushed aside to address the issue at hand. So I'm going to put it in Star Wars Attack of the Clones. The Whale, one of my favorite directors. I will defend Mother till I die, but The Whale didn't do it for me. Performances wise, yes, I am rooting for Hong Chow to win Best Supporting Actress, even though I know she's not the front runner. And Brandon Fraser did a phenomenal performance, but the movie itself, we're going to put The Whale in Points Fives Clubs. Bardo, this is the one I feel was so forgotten. I'm not necessarily in the club that I feel that it's pretentious, though I do feel that it's over the top where it loses itself a bit. And I think easily Bardo is Points Fives Clubs. Avatar: The Way of Water. Okay, Avatar, I could not see in theaters physically. My vertigo could never. However, I knew Avatar was not going to hit streamings. They're going to juice this box office as much as possible, so I knew it wasn't going to drop. And there was no freaking way I was going to drop under 50 nominees. I had to see it. I was really nervous, but I saw it in 3D. I'm pretty proud of myself. Obviously, I had to take off and on the glasses many times, but I have such a soft spot for this film. I definitely think it's better than the first one. I don't know how to describe it, but I saw a YouTube video that was recommended to me that's saying how Avatar 2 is a flawed masterpiece. I think masterpiece is too bit of a strong word, at least for me, but it's definitely flawed, but at the same time, freaking amazing. And I'm not necessarily just talking about the technical aspects. Definitely off the bat, the screenplay is the weakest thing of this film. Visually stunning, technically speaking, yes. Story-wise, character-wise, I actually really do enjoy this film. And I think my soft spot for it that I didn't have before, so this isn't bias, is literally going to make me right now put movie theaters for Avatar 2. I will see it again. I will sit down for those 3 hours and 12 minutes to see it again. Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. This is another one I got to catch in theaters. I would love to inject Puss in Boots into my veins, but not necessarily. So we're gonna put this in movie theaters. Let's talk about the Big Bad Wolf, on how he was fucking terrifying. His red eyes, his whistle. Someone said it perfectly. Everyone's gangster until the Big Bad Wolf whistles. The Fabelmans. Okay. Just like I'm a slut for slow cinema, I also love movies about movies, ode to movies, etc., etc. Though I do feel that a lot of films this year came out trying to do that and didn't necessarily succeed at so much that it's saturating that theme. I'm gonna put in 0.5 clubs. It's a pretty high 0.5 clubs, but it's not necessarily movie theaters, which is low-key ironic. Empire of Light. A big example of the saturation. I did not like it. I'm not speaking performances wise. I'm speaking as the movie. Sorry. Top Gun Maverick. I didn't see Top Gun Maverick in theaters. Thank God. I'm sorry. I'm all for it, but my vertigo, I can't. I was physically sick seeing this at home. Most of the time I was covering my eyes during the action sequences, which are the best parts for most people. I'm surprised that one made me more sick than Avatar. Someone described this perfectly in a Letterboxd review. 80s cheese. That segment with Jennifer Connelly and Tom Cruise when they're all romantic at her house while her daughter's out. But I enjoyed this. I didn't love it. I didn't see it as revolutionary as people were describing it. And that's not just the conversation of how it saved cinema because of movie theaters, box office, pandemic, etc. That's another conversation. But just in total of how it impacted me, I didn't really vibe with it as much. I want to put Top Gun in 0.5 clubs because it's not Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Honestly. Also, whoever said that Goose was Bronco Henry on a Letterboxd review. Tell it like a woman. This one's simple. No. Babylon. Okay, so I would love to inject Babylon into my veins. If Babylon gets a Criterion release, see, if it's not injected into my veins, Babylon is movie theaters. We're gonna come back and realize how much we love Babylon after hating on it so much. It's gonna have its redemption. It's probably gonna be a classic. I loved it. Top 10, but not in the top tier at the moment. All That Breeds, documentary short actually, no, this is not documentary short subject. This is documentary. I low-key want to inject it into my veins. We're gonna inject it into my veins. Wow, the first one's gonna go inject into my veins. Done. It's done. Let's move on. My Year of Dicks. This is easy. Inject into my veins. This is nominated for Best Animated Short. Now, the shorts this year, both live action and animated, aren't as strong. For my animated shorts, I only liked 2 out of the 5, and for live action, I only liked 1 out of the 5. My Year of Dicks, though, not just for this film to be announced on live television, but no, because it works. It's on Hulu. Please go see it. I think it embraces the cliche ending it has, or the predictable ending if you don't want to use the word cliche. One of my coworkers, his wife's friend, worked on it, premiere party, everything, film, I forget it. I think she was a type of assistant. And I was telling him, I'm like, I am rooting for this film. Please. It's, oh, I loved it so much. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, inject into my veins, most definitely. Turning Red was my #1 choice until I saw Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, and I'm so sad I missed it in theaters. This is definitely my choice to take animated feature film. Les Poupées. This is nominated for Best Live Action Short. I'm gonna say this is 0.5 clubs because I do appreciate it. It's pretty low in the 0.5 clubs though, but it's not necessarily Star Wars Attack of the Clones. It is produced by Disney, so if this wins, disappointed but not surprised. Women Talking. I was not a big fan of it as as much. I am very surprised though that it's getting shut out a lot. I mean, it got a Best Picture nomination, however, no acting noms or anything. Technically speaking, I did not like how this film looked, but overall it's pretty empowering and it sticks with you. I'm definitely gonna put Women Talking in 0.5 clubs, and it's pretty high in 0.5 clubs. Everything Everywhere All at Once, the front runner for Best Picture. Listen, this is where I contradict myself when it comes to rating movies and how I've actually paused on rating movies. I gave Everything Everywhere All at Once 5 out of 5. I saw it twice, and I really do appreciate and acknowledge the craft of this master storytelling. Technically speaking, abstract everything. I think what the Daniels did here was really, really special, and it's a great film, and I do think it deserves Best Picture that it's most likely going to take home. However, it's not my number one. It was in my honorable mentions. It's not my choice. It's not as attached into me as it is a lot of other people, but that doesn't mean I don't acknowledge its strengths. I won't go out and say this is a horrible movie whatsoever. That's not the deal at all. So I am going to put Everything Everywhere at Once in movie theaters because it is a great film. Tar, inject into my veins. See, I'm Team Tar and Banshees this year. I want to see this one again. Sea Beast! So, the animated feature films are stacked this year, just like documentary and documentary short subject. Sea Beast is a surprise. I enjoyed it a lot. So, Sea Beast is actually going to be in movie theaters. I loved it more than I expected to. An Ostrich Told Me the World Was Fake, and I think I believe it. This is Best Animated Short. With this one, it had so much potential and it was holding on to it. The idea, the concept that they had was really great. The execution, however, from middle to end didn't do it, and that's where it faltered. So we're going to put this one in 0.5 clubs because I love the concept. The Batman. Sound design, inject into my veins. However, as a film, I'm going to put The Batman easily in movie theaters. Okay, last one of part one. We're ending with Blonde. This one's easy. No. Not even this. No, just no. Okay, so now on to part two. We have A House Made of Splinters. This is nominated for Best Documentary. I think this is such an important documentary to watch. It's extremely heartbreaking and gut-wrenching. However, as it continues and progresses, it is pretty repetitive, where it gets a little stale. But a situation like this is the reality, and a reality doesn't change. And unfortunately, there's not that much change with the state of the world right now. Movie theaters. Let's put it in movie theaters, definitely. Night Ride. This is nominated for Best Live Action Short. I want to say no. You know what? We're actually going to put Night Ride in no. The Banshees of Inisherin. This is my top 3. Inject into my veins. It's that simple. It's top 3 in my ranking of nominees, but it's in my top 5, so this one is easy. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I'm just not a huge fan as much of this installment, this franchise, but I wouldn't go necessarily to say no. I didn't really enjoy Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. It had its moments. We're gonna put it on Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Fire of Love, Best Documentary, which is actually the front runner as well, beating All the Beauty and the Bloodshed. I'm sad. I really loved how educated I got with this documentary, shining light on information I wasn't aware of. I love that. But the narration, I'm not a fan. I could not stand the narration. That's 100% subjective. It's a pretty low 0.5 clubs. All the Beauty and the Bloodshed, like I just mentioned, freaking inject into my brain's Criterion Collection release to take home the Oscar, please. This also touched home for me because it felt like a full circle moment, because when I was a TA in photography for a class I took in college, I learned about Nan Golden and was so impacted by her work, just like Annie Leibovitz and Francesca Woodman. Just to know that they made a documentary this year, it's nominated and everything, just added more to how much I loved it, and I got to see it at LaMel Glendale in theaters. Highly recommend to catch it in theaters. To Leslie, the infamous movie that will forever be associated with campaigning. This one's interesting because a lot of people are saying it's a horrible film, but the performance is what saves it. I have seen films where the film necessarily isn't strong at all. It's pretty weak, but the performances is what saves it, lifts it up. But here it wasn't. So I'm actually gonna put To Leslie in no. Evalu, this is nominated for Best Live Action Short. I was vibing with this in the beginning until we get to the big revelation and climax. I think on a technical level, this live action short is really well done, edited and shot, and also performed. But then that climax really brought down this underwhelming and almost kind of offense in a way that it's presented. I'm gonna put in Actually, I'm going to put in Star Wars Attack of the Clones instead of no, because there's things that do lift it up. The Flying Sailor, Best Animated Short. I feel like I need to rewatch this one because when I first saw it, I was like, I didn't really like the execution they were trying to go for this story that is unbelievingly true. I would want to rewatch it again. I don't think this one's available anywhere, so I only get to see it once until it hits platforms. This one I'm actually going to put in the Points Fives clubs, but it's very low in the Points Fives clubs. Navalny, yes, documentary. This one is definitely movie theaters. Very impressed on how this documentary was made. What keeps me from putting it into Inject Into My Veins is actually more personal. What I mean by this, one belief in the figure itself when he's talking about how sometimes some of his followers who are very far right, white supremacists, racists, sexist, homophobic, etc., come to his rallies, are his supporters, and how he kind of talks that he doesn't necessarily pay attention to that because we need to unite and we need to come together to fight off the bad. There's only so much unity, there's only so much agreeance when it comes to people who genuinely believe in something that you should not believe. This isn't something you should debate. The dangers of white supremacy, of sexism, racism is non-debatable, non-negotiable. The Red Suitcase. This is Best Live Action Short. This is my favorite one. I love this one, and this is the one that I really hope takes it home. It's the strongest one out of all. I am going to put it in movie theaters actually instead of Inject Into My Veins because while I love the last shot, it added a last aspect, a technical aspect actually, that brought it down a notch when it should have uplifted it more. Ice Merchants. This is the second one I love on my ranking of Best Animated Shorts. Definitely movie theaters. That one's easy. Mrs. Harris Goes to Paris. You know what? We love the lighthearted, cheesy films, simple ones with veteran actors, etc. But this one really just didn't do it to me as much. So I'm actually gonna put this in Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Causeway. Surprise, surprise. Inject Into My Veins. It's actually easily going to be in movie theaters, but I love this one. Nothing revolutionary, just simple cinema that's slow paced, and I fucking vibed with it. And I love the performances. Turning Red, yes, before Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio, Turning Red was my number 1, and this was actually in my top 15, but for some reason it's not Inject Into My Veins status, but I would love a Criterion release. I'm gonna put this in movie theaters. I love Turning Red. I love it so much, and it ranks pretty high in my ranking. Glass Onion. I am on the team of Knives Out. I don't think this should be called a sequel to Knives Out. It really stands on its own. I wasn't that huge fan of Glass Onion as much, so we're gonna put this in the Points Fives clubs. It's pretty in the middle. After Sun. Do I even have to inject into my fucking veins? How can I put this many times? This ranked number 1 out of all the nominees. My number 1 movie of 2022. It's that simple. I'm in so much pain. EO. Okay, so I feel that if I were to rewatch EO, I would love it more than the first time I saw it. So we're definitely gonna put EO. Actually, you know what? Fuck it. EO is going into Inject Into My Veins Criterion Collection. I'm going to watch it a second time. I do have criticisms. However, I don't want to state it nor write about it until I see it a second time. I just have this feeling. Elvis. Easily Points Fives clubs. Triangle of Sadness, another one I just wasn't a fan of. That just didn't struck me like it did other people. Definitely Points Fives clubs. Close. This is number 2. On my ranking of all nominees. This is number 2 on my top 10 of 2022. It knocked down The Northman. It pushed aside so many other films. So definitely Inject Into My Veins Criterion Collection. I really hope they take out an After Sun and Close Criterion release. Please. Argentina 1985. This one is definitely in Points Fives clubs. Impressive, well done, straightforward to the point. I enjoyed it. I am though sad that it is ahead of the race instead of Close. Because it's All Quiet on the Western Front, Argentina 1985, then Close for it to get the Oscar. Close and EO is right there. The Martha Mitchell Effect. This is on Netflix. Go see. This is a really well done documentary short subject. Movie theaters easily. I love this one. Marcel the Shell with Shoes On. Even though this is 5th in my ranking of animated short films in the nominees categories, I still appreciate Marcel the Shell with Shoes On, so this is definitely movie theaters. An Irish Goodbye. Best live action short. Easily Star Wars Attack of the Clones. Was not a fan of this one. Haul Out. This is my choice for best documentary short subject. Holy shit. This is on HBO Max. Please go see it. Inject Into My fucking veins. It's that simple. And then we end with All Quiet on the Western Front. Oh my goodness. I love how we're ending with the one that is beating Close. I really hope Close takes it home. Listen, I'm such a wishful thinker to a fault, but just surprise me just this one time. The part the dog didn't get Best Picture, please give me something. I did like it. I did love how it focuses on the romanticism of war, and it's also more anti-war, if not categorized in anti-war films than other war films. The Academy's obsession with war films just for the sake of it being war films when you have other strong contenders in the lineup needs to change, but it probably won't, so disappointed, not surprised. I'm gonna put Okina Western Front in the Points Fives clubs. It's a pretty high Points Fives clubs, so. But just not my choice to take Best International Film. And that is all 51 nominees ranked on a tier list. I love the inject into my veins category so much. I love seeing all those beauties there. Again, like I said, my ranking list is on Letterboxd. If you want to check it out, all that's in the description below. And that's all for today's video, guys. If you love to give it a thumbs up, if you hate to give it a thumbs down, if you like more thumbs up, press subscribe and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And I will see you all next video.